Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another edition of the Premier League preview with me Robert Kesakos here on a Football Tribe. Thank you to all our new subscribers and all those that have been watching our content in the background. I do kindly urge you to continue to subscribe to our channel so that we can continue to grow. Anyways, welcome back from the midweek action that we saw the Europa League, the UEFA Conference League, as well as the UEFA Champions League. Very entertaining action from the UEFA Champions League. All two draws and two victories there. Manchester City holding Madrid at the Bernabeu in a 3-3 draw, while Arsenal had to set off a 2-2 draw against Bayern Munich at the Emirates. Barcelona beating up against PSG by 3-2 at Parc de France, while Atletico Madrid got the better of Borussia Dortmund by 2-1. And then, of course, on Thursday, the surprise result there being Liverpool losing to Atlanta at Anfield by 3-0. Very poor performance there from Liverpool, with manager Jurgen Klopp saying that they were everywhere and nowhere at all. A couple of missed chances while a goal was cancelled for offside there by Mohamed Salah. Speaking of offside, the Premier League has announced that they will adopt the offside technology there that is going to be introduced, so to avoid any further errors or personal or human errors in the officiation of the game. Anyways, welcome back to the channel. It's match day 33 in the Premier League. Yes, I know most teams have played 31 games, but that's because some of those teams had their games rescheduled due to an FA Cup engagement, I think back in February. So it is match week 33, but for most teams, it's match day 32 going into this weekend. And without any wasting further ado, here is the lineup of fixtures that will be coming your way this weekend. At 2:30 p.m., Newcastle will be up against Tottenham Hotspurs at St. James's Park, while at 5 p.m., we do have 4 games when Brentford hosts Sheffield United. Burnley will be at home against Brighton and Hove Albion, while the reigning champions of Manchester City will host an injury-laden Luton Town at the Etihad Stadium. Wolves make the trip to Nottingham Forest to face their former manager in Nuno Espirito Santo, while at 7:30 p.m. Manchester United will make the trip to the Vitality Stadium to play against Bournemouth. And on Super Sunday, games do kick off at 4 p.m. East African time, with 2 games at that time. Liverpool do host Crystal Palace at Anfield, while West Ham will be at the London Stadium against Fulham. And at 6:30 p.m. will come the biggest game, arguably, of the weekend for me, when Arsenal hosts Aston Villa, while Chelsea will have to wait until Monday at 10 p.m. when they play Everton at Stamford Bridge. So that's the lineup of fixtures that will be coming your way. We'll kick things off with the early kickoff. I think it will be a very entertaining fixture that will be coming our way should nothing change. Of course, Newcastle continue to be disturbed by a whole host of injuries, while Tottenham just have a couple of few to deal with. One being their forward in Newcastle, who will likely miss this particular fixture through injury. But most of their key players are available. And I did see, I think it was the Sky Sports Premier League team of the year, and they did choose Vicario to be in their goal. So that is Vicario, the Tottenham goalkeeper. And they did choose Wudogi to play at left back. So they do have Vicario, Wudogi, and I think Mickey Van de Ven is available. Christian Romero, Pape Matza in that midfield, alongside Yves Bissouma, James Maddison, Brennan Johnson, Dejan Kulusevski, and Son there to make things happen for that Tottenham Hotspurs. Of course, the likes of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg are also available to be called upon into action, among other players. So I do think Ange Postecoglou has no excuse or otherwise not to beat up against an injury-laden Newcastle, because they do come in this game on the back of a 3-1 victory against Nottingham Forest at home, and they are pushing for a top 4 finish that could see them qualify for the UEFA Champions League. As much as manager Ange Postecoglou doesn't says that they cannot be just fighting for the top 4 because to him it's nothing. They should be fighting for trophies. I'm telling you, it is everything in present day, especially when it comes to the financial aspect of the game, because that means UEFA Champions League football. It means making more money on match days from the UEFA Champions League, as well as participatory revenue in there. So it is crucial. On the other side, for Ed Howe, plenty of his players are absent, including the likes of Matt Targett, goalkeeper Nick Pope, Joe Willock, Joelinton, Miguel Almiron, Tino Livramento, Jamal Lascelles, Lewis Miley, Seven Botman, Kieran Trippier, who is their top assister this season, arguably one of their best players. I think Alexander Isak is up there. Just above him, Callum Wilson, there also absent. All those players won't be available for this particular fixture unless otherwise. Maybe a few could be passed through a late fitness test to try and feature, but it is a very troubling time for Newcastle United, and indeed they've struggled all through the season, especially because of injuries. They do have a very incredible Alexander Isak, who has, I think, a tally of 15 goals in 22 Premier League appearances, and he has attracted plenty of attention from the big boys, including Arsenal, that would want to sign him. So yes, Newcastle will have all those injuries to contend with, and I do not think that whichever players they manage to field, including the likes of Alexander Isak, Anthony Gordon, in that forward line, will be a fair match all round when you look at the whole team. Although the likes of Bruno Guimaraes are available, Matthew Dubravka, you do think that Tottenham hold the advantage because of the player power, but also Tottenham can be unpredictable sometimes. But I'm tipping Tottenham to have the edge on this particular fixture, to win it, or worst case scenario, at least pick a draw. And then moving forward, Manchester City will be at home against Luton Town. Now, Luton Town is the other team that is struggling with plenty of injuries, and we've seen that in the last two games. They have struggled a bit. They did struggle against Arsenal when they lost by 2-0 as Arsenal put an end to their 18 scoring match Premier League run. So, of course, it goes without saying that Arsenal have a brilliant defense, but Luton, with all their problems, have shown us that they oftentimes do not struggle to find the back of the net in a game. Now, with all their injuries, they do visit a very strong side in Manchester City, who I think have just a few minor issues to worry about. Kevin De Bruyne missed the Real Madrid game through illness. It's reported that he threw up during the build-up. Then Phil Foden suffered a knock in that particular game, and then Nathan Ake is doubtful. But all these players could be passed for the game, especially Phil Foden as well as Kevin De Bruyne. Now, of course, Manchester City will play with Real Madrid at the back of their mind, because the return leg is next week. So you do expect that Pep Guardiola will have that in mind. But because he is still very well into the title race in the Premier League, chasing his fourth Premier League title in a row, he will have no reservation fielding his best team, just like he did when they beat up against Crystal Palace last weekend by 4-2. So you do think that whichever team they do field in this particular fixture will be potent enough to beat up against a relegation struggling Luton Town. By the way, Luton Town do come in this game on the back of a good result, and they beat up against Bournemouth by 2-1. So again, the expectation is they could get a goal in this particular fixture, and we've seen that Manchester City can sometimes be vulnerable to conceding. They did concede 3 against Real Madrid. They conceded 2 against Crystal Palace. So, yeah, they've not kept so many clean sheets in recent times. So, I do think Manchester City will edge this one. By all means, I think they will beat Luton Town. Luton Town will have to avoid any early goals between the first and 20th minute if they are to avoid drubbing on this particular day. Manchester City have already beaten them twice this season in the FA Cup. I think when brought Erling Haaland squad, I think was it 4 or 5 in that particular fixture in that 6-2 victory, and then they did beat Luton at Kenilworth Road by 2 goals to 1. That result was a bit narrow against Manchester City, but that's how Luton Town have behaved at home. They do tend to push teams on the line when they are at home. It doesn't matter if they are big teams. We all remember that 4-3 victory of Arsenal coming late on into stoppage time when Declan Rice headed that ball into the back of the net to win it for the Gunners. So among their injuries, they do have Taden Meng, Resi Baka, Chedozi Ogbeni, Dan Potsi, Gabriel O'Shea, Albert Sambi, Lokonga, Deloni from Arsenal, Jacob Brown, Elijah Adebayo being one of their very decent forward players, Marvelous Nakamba, Mads Anderson, Tom Loki. All these are first team players that will miss this particular fixture through injury. That's why I do think that for Rob Edwards' side to beat up against Pep Guardiola, will have to literally pull a rabbit out of their pocket, which I do not see happening this weekend, considering the history that Manchester City are chasing, the form they are currently in. So the expectation is that Manchester City will win this particular fixture. Moving forward slightly quickly, the other fixture I want us to look at is between Manchester United and AFC Bournemouth. United are the travellers in this case to the Vitality Stadium. They do play Bournemouth that lost last weekend by 2 goals to 1 against Luton Town, while United were somehow lucky to force Liverpool into a 2-2 draw that saw or helped Arsenal reclaim the top spot on the Premier League table, just on goal difference between Liverpool. So a bit of a hard one to call, but FC Bournemouth do come in this particular fixture with the threat of missing Antoine Semenyo, one of their brilliant players. Marcus Tavernier there is a doubt for this particular one, but of course they will look to the players, to other players like Justin Kluivert. They will look to players like Phil Peeling, Dominic Solanke, among others, to try and push this Manchester United, who come into this particular fixture with a whole lot of injury troubles, especially in their back line. They are without Luke Shaw. Johnny Evans has struggled with injury in recent games. Victor Lindelof is absent. Lisandro Martinez is absent. Rafael Varane is absent. Marcus Rashford, as well as Scott McTominay, are all doubts for this particular fixture. Do not be surprised if you see any of them feature, but it's highly unlikely for Lisandro Martinez and Victor Lindelof, as well as Anthony Martial. Tyler Malacia is equally absent. They do have Christian Eriksen available. They do have Casemiro. Of course, that backline will have to have Harry Maguire because Rafael Varane is one of the culprits through injury. So do not be surprised if you see Willy Kambuala in that defense, and then Diego Dalot as well as Aaron Wan-Bissaka to complete that defense. Andre Onana in goal, Casemiro partnering alongside Bruno Fernandes and maybe Christian Eriksen, then Alejandro Garnacho, Anthony, and Rasmus Højlund to complete that side for Erik ten Hag, as well as when they face Andoni Iraola's AFC Bournemouth. Yes, Bournemouth have had their struggles at some point in the season, including the start of the season and beyond the halfway point, but they are a decent team that can trouble big sides when they do host them. And you think United, given the kind of football they've shown us they've been playing this season, that has been very quite unconvincing for me, or in my personal review. I do think they will struggle in this particular fixture. I won't be surprised if it ends in a draw or in a United defeat, because as much as they are trying to push for a top 4 finish, they haven't looked really serious at the pursuit of that finish. Of course, last weekend, like I did say, they capitalized on key moments in the game to force Liverpool into a draw. It was Liverpool that had to, Liverpool led the game, but Manchester United came on and leveled it and then led it before conceding the equalizer to Mohamed Salah. So that's the kind of fixture that we do expect there at the Vitality Stadium. Do let me know what your predictions are. Personally, I think it could end in a draw, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if AFC Bournemouth nicked this one. United will have to sort of do a miracle in judging on how they fared this season if they are to win away from home at the Vitality Stadium. So do let me know what your thoughts are for that particular fixture, but do not forget to subscribe, comment and share